Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Congratulations to all the students out here who have won to get to the state finals of Poetry Out Loud, and to our original poetry winners today. I know it's a lot of work, from deciding to do Poetry Out Loud at the beginning, then finding a poem, learning it, memorizing it, then really learning what it's all about, and then performing it, and then picking out another poem, doing the same thing and doing 2 of them for a video to get here. And now today, 3 poems where you've got them memorized. You learn everything, every single word, why the punctuation's there, and how to perform it. And this whole time, your teacher's helping you and every other student who's doing it. It's a lot of work to get here, so congratulations, everybody. Let's have a fun afternoon. Right now, before we go any further, shut off your cell phones. Anything, alarms, anything else that's going to make noise today? Since 2005, Poetry Out Loud has reached 3 million students and about 50,000 teachers across the country and U.S. territories. The winner of today's competition is going to go to D.C. to the national finals to compete for a top prize of $20,000. This competition has been the work of many tireless people around the country who have a passion for the arts and want to introduce a new generation to the beauty, power, and magic of poetry. Poetry Out Loud exists and is possible nationally because of the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation. Arts organizations like these are vital to the American way of life and our future. On the state level, we are so fortunate to have very smart and talented, hardworking people championing the arts in the state. We have the South Dakota Arts Council and Arts South Dakota to thank for making everything possible today. With us from Arts South Dakota, we have Jim Spears. And from the South Dakota Arts Council, we also have Deputy Director Rebecca Cruz and Director Patrick Baker. And Patrick would like to say a few words now.
So I just want to thank you all for being here, number one, and just take a moment to thank some of our partners, Arts South Dakota, as DJ mentioned earlier, South Dakota Public Broadcasting, the Sioux Falls School District, and of course the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation. We would also like to give a special thanks to Jeff Little and Ben Schumacher, who are here recording and live streaming the competition, as well as Principal Steve Griffith here at Edison Middle School. Later today, Stephen Thurman, we'd like to give a thanks to. He will be here photographing the competition. Most of all, I would just like to thank all the students and the teachers for their hard work, time, and energy, as well as all of the judges who will be introduced shortly. On a personal note, I just want to say that I think it's fantastic to see this type of participation in Poetry Out Loud. When I was in high school, I think maybe even earlier, maybe junior high, my real love with the written word certainly came through a love for poetry, which later led me to loving music and art of all kind. And I just think with poetry, whether it's the kind of wending, beautiful back roads you take through the language, or sometimes the naked power of brevity, what it instills in you, that love for the written word, also translate to becoming a lifelong lover of reading and staying informed and communicating with other people. So I want to thank you all for being in the Poetry Out Loud competition. DJ?
Thank you, Patrick. Now I'd like to introduce our judges for today's competition. Leanne Rorapaw is the author of 4 volumes of poetry. Dandarians? Thank you, yay! On the Cusp of Dangerous Year, Year of the Snake, and Beyond Heart Mountain. She was named winner of the Association of Asian American Studies Book Award in Poetry or Prose for 2004, and a 1998 winner of the National Poetry Series. The current South Dakota State Poet Laureate, Rorapaw is a professor of English at the University of South Dakota, where she serves as Director of Creative Writing and Editor-in-Chief of South Dakota Review. Next, we have Ray Peterson. Ray Peterson is a retired professor emeritus in communication studies and theater from South Dakota State University. I can vouch for that. During his 40 years at SDSU, Ray taught both speech and technical theater courses, designed hundreds of sets, and directed countless musicals for both the main stage and Prairie Repertory Theater. In addition to his university contributions, Ray has judged countless oral interp and one-act play contests for the South Dakota High School Activities Association, and for the past 50 years has served as producer and production director for the Miss America pageant. Sorry, that part got, but South Dakota pageant, sorry, they got cut off. What are we gonna do? Also, we have Betty Gerberding. She's got a BS degree from SDSU and her master's from SDSU and 50 plus years teaching at every level of education, from first grade through college seniors. She's a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 2, and she's an avid bridge player. Thank you, Betty. And our fourth judge is Ted Herron. He grew up on his family's farm just outside of Beersford, South Dakota, at a place the locals know as Norway Center. After completing his studies in broadcast journalism and horticulture at the land-grant university, otherwise known as South Dakota State University, yay, Ted. He applied the strong work ethic and planting tips he learned on the farm to starting a new advertising agency, Fresh Produce, and a late-night public radio show, Rock Garden Tour. So thank you, Ted. Also, he didn't put it on here, but also a really good guy. Now we're going to get to the competition. Rebecca is sitting over here. She is the accuracy judge. Please take a note of where she's sitting. She's also going to serve as a prompter for the competition. If you momentarily lose your place during the recitation or forget the beginning of a line, you may rely on the designated prompter for help. Take note that you are better off stopping and gathering your thoughts before relying on the prompter, as a prompt is an automatic 3-point per judge deduction. However, if you do need to be prompted, please look directly at Rebecca and nod or point to give a clear indication that you need her help. She will not automatically prompt any student without clear indication. As we know, many of you will pause, sometimes for a significant length of time, for dramatic effect. Now, to all of our finalists today, I know I speak for everyone in the room when I say we are all pulling for you to do your best. You each have all of our support and goodwill. Our judges are all good, fair, and fine people. So take a deep breath, relax, and have fun today. Now, first up, we've got Gabe Pulliam Sanchez. Gabe plays center on the varsity football team, competes in oral interp, forensics, and drama. He enjoys playing Magic the Gathering, skateboarding, and playing his guitar. His favorite movie is Sling Blade, and his favorite novel is Flowers for Algernon. He's thinking of pursuing a degree in architecture. Come on up, Gabe.
Fishing on the Susquehanna in July by Billy Collins. I have never been fishing on the Susquehanna, or on any river for that matter, to be perfectly honest. Not in July or any month have I had the pleasure, if it is a pleasure, of fishing on the Susquehanna. I am more likely to be found in a quiet room like this one, a painting of a woman on the wall, a bowl of tangerines on the table, trying to manufacture the sensation of fishing on the Susquehanna. There is little doubt that others have been fishing on the Susquehanna, rowing upstream in a wooden boat, sliding the oars under the water, then raising them to drip in the light. But the nearest I have ever come to fishing on the Susquehanna was one afternoon in a museum in Philadelphia, when I balanced a little egg of time in front of a painting in which that river curled around a bend under a blue, cloud-ruffled sky, dense trees along the banks, and a fellow with a red bandana sitting in a small green flat-bottomed boat holding the thin whip of a pole. That is something I am unlikely ever to do, I remember saying to myself and the person next to me. Then I blinked and moved on to other American scenes of haystacks, water whitening over rocks, even one of a brown hair who seemed so wired with alertness. I imagined him springing right out of the frame.
Thank you, Gabe. Next up is Jennifer Sundermeyer. Jennifer comes from a huge family that she loves to the moon and back. She loves writing songs and making music and plans on majoring in audio and recording technology in college. She also participates in cheerleading, theater, oral interp, and poetry. She has never robbed a bank, however, she is a fantastic baker. Though she didn't bring any of her baking here today, so we're just gonna have to trust her.
Envy by Mary Lamb. This rose tree is not made to bear the violet blue, nor the lily fair, nor the sweet mignonette. And if this tree were discontent or wished to change its natural bent, it all in vain would fret. And should it fret, you would suppose it had never seen its own red rose, nor, after gentle shower, had ever smelled its rose's scent, where it can ne'er be discontent with its own pretty flower. Like such a blind and senseless tree, as I've imagined this to be, all envious persons are. With care and culture, all may find some pretty flower in their own mind, some talent that is rare.
All right, next up we have Maddie Lukomsky. She's a senior at Lincoln High and has been involved in the arts almost her entire life. She's participated in theater, oral interp, and poetry out loud. She recently started a club called Agents of Progressive Change to help provide an avenue for organizations to get high school students involved with social issues. Maddie?
Minges at the Showplace by William Matthews. I was miserable, of course, for I was 17. And so I swung into action and wrote a poem. And it was miserable, for that was how I thought poetry worked. You digested experience and shat literature. It was 1960 at the Showplace, long since defunct, on West 4th Street. And I sat at the bar, casting beer money from a thin reel of ones. The kid in the city, big ears like a puppy. And I knew Minges was a genius. I knew 2 other things, but they were wrong, as it happened. So I made him look at the poem. There's a lot of that going around, he said. Sweet baby Jesus, he was right. He laughed amiably. He didn't look as if he thought bad poems were dangerous the way some poets do. If they were baseball executives, they'd plot to destroy sandlots everywhere so that the game could be saved from children. Of course, later that night, he fired his pianist in mid-selection and flurried him from the stand. We've suffered a diminuendo in personnel, he explained. and the band played on.
Okay, next up we have Michaela Clue. Michaela is a senior from Watertown High School who has two loving parents, a biggest brother with a family of his own, a big brother she adores, and a newly engaged big sister, and a dog who keeps her from being the baby of the family. She participates in many Aero activities, including student council and forensics, and although she's never robbed a bank, it sure would make deciding about college much easier. Michaela.
Onions by William Matthews. How easily happiness begins by dicing onions. A lump of sweet butter slithers and swirls across the floor of the sauté pan, especially if its errant path crosses a tiny slick of olive oil. Then a tumble of onions. This could mean soup or risotto or chutney. From the Sanskrit chatni, to lick. Slowly the onions go limp, and then nacreous, and then what cookbooks call clear, though if they were eyes you could see clearly the cataracts in them. It's true, it can make you weep to peel them, to unfurl and to tease from the taut ball, first the brittle, caramel-colored and decrepit, papery outside layer. The least recent, the reticent onion wrapped around its growing body. For there's nothing to an onion but skin. And it's true you can keep on weeping as you go on in through the moist middle skins, the sweetest and thickest. And you can go on into the core, to the bud-like, acrid, fibrous skins, tightly clustered there, stalky and incomplete. And these are the most pungent, like the nuggets of nightmare and rage and murmury animal comfort that infant humans secrete. This is the best domestic perfume. You sit down to eat with a rumor of onions still on your twice-washed hands, and lift to your mouth a hint of a story about loam and usual endurance. It's there when you clean up and rinse the wine glasses and make a joke. And you leave the minutest whiff of it on the light switch later when you climb the stairs.
Next up, we have Jane Walsh. Jane loves theater, as all good and decent people do. She's learned her appreciation from participating in middle school poetry, or she's learned her, I'm going to start that one again. She learned her appreciation of poetry from participating in middle school poetry slam. Her favorite Broadway show is Hamilton. I know, that's a shocker. Right now, she's performing in And Then They Came For Me, a story of Anne Frank. She is the only child, but she does have a dog sister, Pippin. And this is her first year doing POL. Jane?
The Children's Hour by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Between the dark and the daylight, when the night is beginning to lower, comes a pause in the day's occupations that is known as the Children's Hour. I hear in the chamber above me the patter of little feet, the sound of a door that is opened, and voices soft and sweet. From my study, I see in the lamplight, descending the broad hall stair, grave Alice, laughing Allegra, and Edith with golden hair. A whisper, and then a silence. Yet I know by their merry eyes they are plotting and planning together to take me by surprise. A sudden rush from the stairway, a sudden raid from the hall. By 3 doors left unguarded, they enter my castle wall. They climb up into my turret or the arms and back of my chair. If I try to escape, they surround me. They seem to be everywhere. They almost devour me with kisses, their arms about me entwine, till I think of the Bishop of Bingen in his mouse tower on the Rhine. Do you think, O blue-eyed banditti, because you have scaled the wall, such an old mustache as I am is not a match for you all? I have you fast in my fortress, and will not let you depart, but put you down into the dungeon in the round tower of my heart. And there I shall keep you forever, yes, forever and a day, till the walls shall crumble to ruin and molder in dust away.
Next, we have Elizabeth Wisagunda. She's known as Liz. She's a sophomore at Harrisburg High School. She's a very involved student at school, participating in oral interpretation, debate, and National Honor Society. Liz has always tried to make a difference. Through hard work and determination, Liz has managed to break away from the labels society has placed on her and done so with a smile on her face. Liz lives by Buddha's quote, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." Liz has been a fanatic of poetry for a couple years now, and her favorite poems come from slam competitions. Liz?
El Olvido by Judith Ortiz Cofer. It is a dangerous thing to forget the climate of your birthplace, to choke out the voices of dead relatives when in dreams they call you by your secret name. It is dangerous to spurn the clothes you were born to wear for the sake of fashion. Dangerous to use weapons and sharp instruments you are not familiar with. Dangerous to disdain the plaster saints before which your mother kneels, praying with embarrassing fervor that you survive in the place you have chosen to live. Bare, cold room with no pictures on the walls. a forgetting place where she fears you will die of loneliness and exposure. Jesús, María y José, she says. El olvido is a dangerous thing.
Next up, we've got Marie McLaughlin. Marie is a professional dog walker, semi-professional seamstress, and an amateur puzzler. When she's not singing random Broadway tunes, she enjoys a competitive game of broomball or racquetball. She's the youngest of 5 redheads. Maria and her siblings performed competitively on unicycles under the name Legally Red. Maria has traveled to all 50 states and abroad. Her favorite trip was to Costa Rica, where she fell in love with sloths, my spirit animal. Marie?
Corn Maze by David Barber. Here is where you can get nowhere, faster than ever. As you go under, deeper and deeper in the fertile smother of another acre. Like any other, you can't peer over. And then another, and everywhere you veer or hare, there you are. Farther and farther afield than before. But on you blunder in the verdant meander, as if the answer to looking for cover were to bewilder your inner minotaur. And near and far were neither here nor there. And where you are is where you were.
Okay, is Shayna here? Hey, all right, I mean, there was a weather and a scheduling conflict because of the weather, and so I don't have a bio for you, but Shayna Dieterman, come on up.
Bleeding Heart by Carmen Gimenez Smith. My heart is bleeding. It bleeds upwards and fills up my mouth with salt. It bleeds because of a city in ruins. The chair, still warm from sister's body, because it will all be irreproducible. My heart bleeds because of baby bear not finding mama bear. And it bleeds to the tips of my fingers like I painted my nails crime synth. Sometimes my heart bleeds so much I am a raisin. It bleeds until my quivering, ragged clot. Bleeds at the ending with the heroin and her sunken cancer eyes. At the ending with the plaintive flute with the smoke-choked killing fields. I am bleeding a river of blood right now, and it's wearing a culvert in me for the blood. My heart rises in me, becomes the cork of me, and I choke on it. I am bleeding for you and for me and the tiny babies in the IED blown leg. It bleeds because I am made that way. All filled with blood, my sloppy heart a sponge filled with blood to squeeze onto any circumstance. Because it's mine, it will always bleed. My heart bled today. It bled on the streets and on the steps of City Hall. It bled in the pizza parlor with the useless jukebox. I've got so much blood to give inside and outside of any milieu. Even for a bad zoning decision, I'll bleed so much you'll be bleeding. All of us bleeding. Like it's breathing or kissing. And because it's righteous and terrible and red.
She literally just left another event. Her teacher picked her up and got her right here, so good job. And also, everybody who just did that, take a deep breath. The first one's over. Good job. I don't envy what the judges have to do today because that the competition level is very good. As part of the Poetry Out Loud program that we have here in the state, we also have an original poetry portion. And those were, we took those in from across the state this year, and those were judged by 4 judges this year. And 3 of them were chosen to be the top, and we've got all 3 of those poets here. So in between the rounds, we're going to have one of each of the original poetry people come up. Our first poet today is Libby Murphy. She has 5 brothers and sisters and 3 dogs. At high school, she spends almost all of her time with AP Arts or studio art. She started writing poetry last year and has written about 20 poems so far. After high school, this artist is looking for a tattoo apprenticeship focusing on American traditional style. Libby?
This one's called Warfare. They say 20% of men that participated in the Iraqi war have PTSD because Bush needed to prove his authority by harassing an innocent nation. Now, I say that we staple olive branches to every boot heel so that when their tanks enter a kill zone, we can say they put the pedal to the metal because it's not worth spreading paint thinner on the walls of their memories to avenge deaths they didn't cause. Because when children are pulling pins out of grenades, they need to be saved. They are no longer Toys R Us kids. Oh. But they are another casualty, another statistic that tells Congress that they need to buy more war toys. They say every cloud has a silver lining, but above war zones it's raining bullets. And when a desert storm hits, armies can't stop singing in the rain. My older brother's best friend came back from war, and he told me that when he was a passenger in tanks, he could hear skulls pop underneath the treads. And sometimes at night, he still could. When I asked him how he copes, he said, "I pretend like I'm chewing cornflakes, and it all goes away." Well, no wonder he was so hungry to get home. And they say only 20% of soldiers have PTSD.
Thank you, Libby. Okay, let's get on with round 2. This time, poets, I'll announce the name each time, but just be ready to go. You should know the order here. In round two, we're going to start out with Gene Walsh.
Cartoon Physics Part 1 by Nick Flynn. Children under, say, 10 shouldn't know that the universe is ever expanding, inexorably pushing into the vacuum, galaxies swallowed by galaxies, whole solar systems collapsing. All of it acted out in silence. At 10, we are still learning the rules of cartoon animation. That if a man draws a door on a rock, only he can pass through it. Anyone else who tries will crash into the rock. 10-year-olds should stick with burning houses, car wrecks, ships going down, earthbound tangible disasters, arenas where they can be heroes. You can run back into a burning house. Sinking ships have lifeboats. The trucks will come with their ladders. If you jump, you will be saved. A child places her hand on the roof of a school bus and drives across a city of sand. She knows the exact spot the bus will skid, at which point the bridge will give, who will swim to safety, and who will be pulled under by sharks. She will learn that if a man runs off the edge of a cliff, he will not fall, until he notices his mistake.
Okay, next up is Sheena.
Do you want us to say the title?
Yes.
I Remember by Thomas Hood. I remember the house where I was born, the little window where the sun came peeping in at morn. He never came a wink too soon, nor brought too long a day, but now I often wish the night had borne my breath away. I remember the roses, red and white, the violets and the lily cups, those flowers made of light. The lilacs where the robin built, and where my brother set the laburnum on his birthday. The tree is living yet. I remember where I used to swing and thought the air must rush as fresh to swallows on the wing. My spirit flew in feathers then, that is so heavy now. And summer pools could hardly cool the fever on my brow. I remember the fir trees, dark and high. I used to think their slender tops were close against the sky. It was a childish ignorance, but now 'tis little joy to know I'm farther off from heaven than when I was a little boy.
Okay, next up we have Liz Osagunda.
Revenge by Letitia Elizabeth Landon. I gaze upon her rose-wreathed hair and gaze upon her smile. Seem as you drank the very air her breath perfumed the while, and wake for her the gifted line that wild and witching lay, and swear your heart is as a shrine that only owns her sway. 'Tis well. I am revenged at last. Mark you the scornful cheek, the eye averted as you'd passed, spoke more than words could speak. I, now by all the bitter tears that I have shed for thee, the racking doubts, the burning fears, avenged they well may be. By the nights passed in sleepless care, the days of endless woe, all that you taught my heart to bear, all that yourself will know. I would not wish to see you laid within an early tomb. I should forget how you betrayed and only weep your doom. But this is a fitting punishment, to live and love in vain. O my wrung heart, be thou content and feed upon his pain. Go now and watch her lie aside, thine own it will not be, and bask beneath her sunny eye, it will not turn on thee. 'Tis well, the rack, the chain, the wheel, far better hast thou proved. Even I could almost pity feel, for thou art nor beloved.
Okay, next we have Marie McLaughlin.
April Midnight by Arthur Simmons. Side by side through the streets at midnight, roaming together through the tumultuous night of London in the miraculous April weather. Roaming together under the gaslight, day's work over. How the spring calls to us here in the city, calls to the heart, from the heart of a lover. Cool to the wind blows fresh in our faces, cleansing, entrancing after the heat and the fumes and the footlights, where you dance, I watch your dancing. Good it is to be here, together. Good to be roaming, even in London, even at midnight. Lover-like in a lover's gloaming, you, the dancer, and I, the dreamer. Children together, wandering lost in the night of London, in the miraculous April weather.
Okay, now we've got Gabriel Pulliam Sanchez.
The Tiger by William Blake. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
And now we have Maddie Lukomsky.
Mezzo Camine by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Half of my life is gone, and I have let the years slip from me and have not acquired the aspiration of my youth to build some tower of song with lofty parapet. Not indolence, nor pleasure, nor the fret of restless passions that would not be stilled, but sorrow and a care that almost killed kept me from what I may accomplish yet. Though halfway up the hill I see the past lying beneath me with its sounds and sights. A city in the twilight, dim and vast, with smoking roofs, soft bells, and gleaming lights. And here above me, on the autumnal blast, the cataract of death, far thundering from the heights.
Next up, we have Jennifer Sundermeyer.
From Space to Time by Carolyn M. Rogers. On a day when we were dark and not so full of light, we went What did we find? Nothing. Everything when we closed our eyes, which anyway had never been opened. Once, we thought we loved each other. Who can reverse time? We tried. We stepped out of space into some new step of distance and fell. And not in love.
And now we have Michaela Clue.
Since There Is No Escape by Sarah Teasdale. Since there is no escape, since at the end my body will be utterly destroyed, this hand I love as I have loved a friend, this body I tended, wept with, and enjoyed. Since there is no escape, even for me, who love life with a love too sharp to bear, the scent of orchards in the rain, the sea, and hours alone, too still and sure for prayer. Since darkness waits for me, then all the more let me go down as waves sweep to the shore in pride, and let me sing with my last breath. In these few hours of light, I lift my head. Life is my lover. I shall leave the dead. If there is any way to baffle death.
Why don't we take a 5-minute break? Our next original poet is Rosie Little Whiteman. She's a junior at Little Wound High School. She lives with her grandparents and sister and Kyle. She's active with theater and poetry in high school. She has been participating in the Dakota Poetry Slam Contest, danced with words for 2 years, and has performed at 2 governor's dinners. Rosie?
Transgender. This is about a person being transgender in a society that only believes in being normal. First of all, what the fuck is normal? Second of all, the word itself sounds sickening. I think I might regurgitate my lunch. They were born female, but they identify as male. Society calls them confused, tranny, or misshapen. For 16 years, they have been living to be conformed, to dress, act, look, and be a girl. 2 years, starting March 2014, they have been labeled confused, tomboy, dyke. They began to believe they were a boy. The mirror always lied to them, showing them the body of a female, looking down at a chest that doesn't belong to them, seeing genitals that make them feel out of place. They may not be a boy physically, but they are mentally, spiritually, and emotionally male. Go ahead, call us a dyke, call them confused, tomboy, Superman, Batman, call them whatever you want, but their name is Elliot Poi. They know who they are. Do you?
Thank you, Rosie. Okay, let's begin round 3. First up, we have Marie McLaughlin.
Layabout by John Breen. Do nothing and everything will be done. That's what Mr. Lao Tzu said, who walked around talking 2,500 years ago. And now his books practically grow on trees, they're so popular. And if he were alive today, beautiful women would rush up to him like waves lapping at the shores of his wisdom. That's the way it is, I guess. Humbling. But if I could just unclench my fist, empty out my eyes, turn my mind into a prayer flake for the wind to play with, we could be brothers. Him, the older one, who's seen and not done it all. And me, still unlearning. Both of us slung low in our hammocks, our hats tipped forwards, hands folded neatly like bamboo huts above our hearts.
And now we've got Jane Walsh.
Very Large Moth by Craig Arnold, after DHL. Your first thought when the light snaps on and the black wings clatter about the kitchen is a bat. The clear part of your mind considers rabies. The other part does not consider, knows only to startle and cower away from the slap of its wings, though it is soon clearly not a bat, but a moth, and harmless. Still, you are shy of it. It clings to the hood of the stove, not black, but brown. Its orange eyes sparkle like televisions. Its leg joints are large enough to count. How could you kill it? Where would you hide the body? A creature so solid must have room for a soul. And if this is so, why not in a creature half its size? Or half its size again? And so on down to the ants. Clearly, it must be saved. Caught in a shopping bag and rushed to the front door, afraid to crush it, feeling the plastic rattle, loosened into the night air, it batters the porch light, throwing fitful shadows around the landing. That was a really big moth, is all you can say to the doorman who has watched your whole performance with a smile. The half compassion and half horror we feel for the creatures we want not to hurt and prefer not to touch.
Now we've got Shayna Dieterman.
Wife's Disaster Manual by Deborah Paredes. When the forsaken city starts to burn, after the men and children have fled, stand still, silent as prey, and slowly turn back. Behold the curse. Stay and mourn the collapsing doorways and the unbroken bread in the forsaken city starting to burn. Don't flinch. Don't join in, resist the righteous scurry, and instead stand still. Silent as prey, and slowly turn your thoughts away from escape. The iron gates unlatched, the responsibility shed. When the forsaken city starts to burn, surrender to your calling. Show concern for those who remain. Come to a dead standstill. Silent as prey, and slowly turn into something essential. Learn the names of the fallen, refuse to run ahead when the forsaken city starts to burn. Stand still and silent. Pray. Return.
Now Gabriel Pulliam Sanchez.
Constantly Risking Absurdity, number 15, by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Constantly risking absurdity and death whenever he performs above the heads of his audience, the poet. Like an acrobat, climbs on rhyme to a high wire of his own making, and balancing on I-beams above a sea of faces, paces his way to the other side of day, performing entre-shaw and slide-of-foot tricks, and other high theatrics, and all without mistaking anything for what it may not be. For he's the super realist, who must perforce perceive taught truth before the taking of each stance or step in his supposed advance toward that still higher perch where beauty stands and waits with gravity to start her death-defying leap. And he, a little Charlie Chaplin man who may or may not catch her fair, eternal form, spread-eagled in the empty air of existence.
Next is Jennifer Sundermeyer.
Pity the Beautiful by Dana Gioia. Pity the beautiful, the dolls and the dishes, the babes with big daddies granting their wishes. Pity the pretty boys, the hunks and Apollos, the golden lads whom success always follows. The hotties, the knockouts, the 10s out of 10s, the drop-dead gorgeous, the great leading men. Pity the faded, the bloated, the blousy, the paunchy Adonis whose luck's come lousy. Pity the gods, no longer divine. Pity the night the stars lose their shine.
Next, we have Michaela Clue.
The Owl and the Pussycat by Edward Lear. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar, "Oh, lovely pussy, oh, pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, you are, you are. What a beautiful pussy you are." Pussy said to the owl, "You elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us be married. Too long we have tarried, but what shall we do for a ring?" They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows. And there in a wood a piggy-wig stood, with a ring at the end of his nose. His nose, with a ring at the end of his nose. "Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring?" Said the piggy, "I will." So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. And hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon, the moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon.
Next, we have Liz Asegada.
Negative by Kevin Young. Wake to find everything black, what was white. All the vice versa. White maids on TV, black sitcoms at star, white dwarfs cute as pearl buttons. Black presidents, black houses, white horse candidates. All bleach, burns clothes black. Drive roads white as you are, white songs on the radio stolen by black bands like secret pancake recipes. White backup singers, ball players, and boxers, all white as tar. Feathers on chickens, dark as everything, boiling in the pot that called the kettle honky. Even whites of the eyes turn dark, pupils clear and changing as a cat's. Is this what we've wanted and waited for? To see snow covering everything black as Christmas, dark pages written white upon? All our eclipses bright, dark stars shooting across pale skies, glowing like ash and fire shower every skin. Only money keeps green, still grows and burns like grass under dark daylight.
And finally, Maddie Lakomsky.
Chicago by Carl Sandburg. Hog butcher for the world, tool maker, stacker of wheat, player with railroads and the nation's freight handler, stormy, husky, brawling, city of the big shoulders. They tell me you are wicked, and I believe them. For I have seen your painted women under the gas lamps, luring the farm boys. And they tell me you are crooked. And I reply, yes, it is true. I have seen the gunmen kill and go free to kill again. And they tell me you are brutal. And my reply is, on the faces of women and children, I have seen the marks of wanton hunger. And having answered so, I turn once more to those who sneer at this, my city, and I give them back the sneer and say to them, come, and show me another city with lifted heads singing so proud to be alive and coarse and strong and cunning, flinging magnetic curses amid the toil of piling job on job. Here is a tall, bold slugger set vivid against the little soft cities, fierce as a dog, with tongue lapping for action, cunning as a savage pitted against the wilderness, bareheaded, shoveling, wrecking, planning, building, breaking, rebuilding under the smoke, dust all over his mouth, laughing with white teeth. Under the terrible burden of destiny, laughing as a young man laughs. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing as a young man laughs. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle bragging and laughing, that under his wrist is the pulse, and under his ribs the heart of the people, laughing the stormy, husky, brawling laughter of youth, half naked, sweating, proud to be hog butcher, tool maker, stacker of wheat, player with railroads, and freight handler to the nation.
Okay, now our third original poet. This is Ethan Tasse. He's a senior at Susquehanna High School. He's the son of Rachel and Jay Tasse and has 4 brothers, all redheads. A dog, a bird, and a fish. His passion, well, I'm guessing his brothers weren't the dog, a bird, and a fish. Guessing that's in addition to the brothers? Okay. His passion is art, and he plans to study art education at USD. His favorite artist is Andy Warhol. Ethan says he enjoys the diversity of types of people who live at Susquehanna. The best piece of advice anyone has ever given him is don't give up. And the advice he would give his young self would be try everything at least once. Ethan?
Lavender. Lavender is for the undertones. The lavender in cold hands. Lavender for the lilacs and their sweet goodbye. Lavender is sweet and kind and naive. Lavender is the torture of the memory of bruises. Lavender is not the evil of plum or the elite of violet. It is for everyone. Yes, lavender. Lavender is the dragonflies, the wildflowers, that lavender. Lavender is the shade under unshut eyes. Those undertones are lavender. Lavender is the passion of red, the calm of blue, and the acceptance of white. Lavender is the twilight sky. Lavender is for you and I.
Okay, now we're going to take another break. 10 minutes?
See how long it takes to tabulate.
About 10 minutes, we'll say. Ish. Okay, we're ready to get back at it. So first off, every year we Poetry Out Loud does a Teacher of the Year award, and so I'm going to have Rebecca Cruz announce that.
So as DJ mentioned earlier during the introduction, Poetry Out Loud is a lot of work for the students, but it's also a lot of work for teachers. It's a big commitment, and we have a lot of dedicated teachers for this program in South Dakota. If not for them, we wouldn't have this strong of a program in our state. Students in South Dakota have placed among the top 12 in the nation 7 out of the 10 years that we've been doing Poetry Out Loud, which is very impressive. And all of this success is due to their teachers and their own hard work. So the Poetry Out Loud Teachers Awards are designed to recognize outstanding work in the classroom through Poetry Out Loud. This year we're recognizing 2 teachers who are constantly working to build their programs and inspire their students through poetry. You don't have to come up here. You already have your prizes. I don't know if you opened your envelopes, but the 2 teachers we're recognizing this year, the first place Poetry of the Year teacher is Sharon Prendergast from Susquehanna High School. So Sharon wins a $500 cash award. And second place was Daniel Snathan from Little Wound High School. And Dan won a $250 cash award. That's all.
Okay, now, do you want to do that one by one, or just bring all three originals up?
Just all three.
Okay, why don't all the original poets come on up here? Ethan, Rosie, and Libby. Each one of these poets wins a $100 cash award today. Okay, thank you guys. Oh, wait, come back. We forgot to give you stuff. There's still more stuff.
I forgot, there are books. You can pick. I should just hand them to you, but go ahead if there's something that.
So just all a collection of poems.
Yeah, they're just. We can all go together. Yeah. So if there's something that catches your eye, feel free to grab it. And here's a pen for Mark. There you go. There you go. Thanks. I'm gonna try not to do that again.
So I'll just bring everybody else up. Okay. Now, all of our Poetry Out Loud competitors, come on up here. Okay, we've got a certificate and a pen and a book for all of you, and it's really in no particular order. So, first up, Michaela Clue. Jennifer Sundermeyer. Jane Walsh. Liz O. Shayna Detterman. Marie McLaughlin.
Right here.
Oh, we've got two more. So this year's runner-up is Gabe Pulliam Sanchez. And our winner, Maddie Lukomsky.
I told her that.
Oh, okay.
This is too heavy. She didn't have to hold it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, well, congratulations, everybody. We had a fantastic Poetry Out Loud year. Go home.
Don't go home.
Just wait.
So, you can leave the stage, though. Congratulations to Maddie, our state champion this year. Congratulations to Gabe, our state runner-up, and to everybody. Thank you very much. I want to go through just a couple more thank yous before we go. First of all, our judges, thank you so much for sharing your time and expertise with us. We also had judges for our preliminary round and our original poetry, who I just want to mention here today. They are Francie Davis, Roger Hartley, Linda Hasselstrom and James Connor judged the original poetry, or the preliminary round of videos. The original poetry judges were Leanne Rohrpaw, Patrick Hicks, and Melinda Obach. Again, we want to thank our partners who are Arts South Dakota and Jim Spears, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Poetry Foundation, and South Dakota Public Broadcasting, as well as the Sioux Falls School District, who live stream the event and video it for us and allow us the use of this facility. I also want to thank Kate Vandell, wherever she went. She was our scorekeeper today and is our programs coordinator at the Arts Council, and Jeff Little and Ben Schumacher, and Stephen Thurman, who's going to take a whole bunch of pictures, so nobody leave yet.